So let's start with the second part of this long day. And now we really dig in the platform and in the technical part related to the development of this code and software to where all services are hosted. And this presentation is led by Stefano Natali from SISTEMA, and part of the work is done in collaboration with CMCC. So, Stefano, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. First after lunch, so I need to be energetic to keep you awake. I'll do my best. Alessandro, you have to do one part of the presentation if you don't mind, the one related to the pilots. Is it okay, or should I do it?
The real-time organization, good.
Okay, no, I thought you, okay, that's perfect. I can do it. Again, I can go through it. But I don't know exactly the functionalities of the front ends. Okay, anyway, maybe the pilot. Okay, perfect. So as everybody knows already, the idea was to have, well, I will go through the, shortly through introduction, then the methodology, the results. So the structure is the same that you've seen in the other presentation, I assume. These are the people that were involved in this, let's say, project. I was leading the team. Then I had two guys from Sistema. One is Imanol, and the other one is Wasim. They are both data scientists. Wasim more in the data part, and Imanol more in the implementation. And they helped a lot in, first of all, deploying the platform, but mainly to create the data sets and organize and prepare the data for the different pilots. And the fourth one is Damiano. Damiano is from Mio. Mio is an associated partner. And he was the one that was managing then the platform when it was deployed, taking care of all the issues related to the stability of the ICT infrastructure where it was deployed. And then from the CMCC part, it's mainly, well, I didn't mention at the beginning, okay, I don't. Then it's more Alessandro and Hitsu who has worked in the implementation of the processing orchestration part, the translation between the pilots and the creation of the front end. So everything was in charge of them. So we have kept more or less the structure that was expected by the platform. And this I took these statements from the first GA. So from when we started the project, and these are the objectives that we wanted to have. So first of all, we wanted to have a unique endpoint for the different pilots to access the data and do the processing. We wanted to have, and then that was done for sure. We wanted to have some operational capabilities to discover the data that were generated, access, create processing, and exploit the results, so the front ends. We have an environment in which you can compare and also create new SDG indicators, and that was done through the laboratory. And the fact that it should have become the reference platform for the SDG indicator community, this is more related to the exploitation part. We have some users, but I think there could be more done here. But at the end, everything was done. So honestly, I was very happy when I was creating this slide, because it seems that in these 3 years of the project, we were really able to we had a view at the beginning and we were able to implement this view. That's not always the case. So, and this is how it is structured now. Let's say we have all the data that are coming from the different Copernicus services, satellites, and so on. We have other data that have been collected. We have a data access unified model for accessing this data. We implement this HDA approach in which whenever there is a need of a specific data set, we collect and we make available for the different pilot at the beginning indicators. Then in the middle, there is the Jupyter part, so the laboratory, where the different, let's say, partners of the project could go there, develop their own indicators and test them. I don't have a pointer, but maybe I can, okay, it works. No, I can use this one. Also, the Git part was very important to have a single repository for all the different software that have been generated. That's also a very important layer. And then there are the front ends with open source technologies, one specific user interface for the different for each indicator that makes the indicators more usable for different communities. I mean, you can't expect to have the same type of interface for all the indicators for all the communities, because it doesn't work. In the bottom, there is all the part related to the ICT resources management, and this was again another good result, because we have Dockerized everything from the very beginning. So when we had the restrictions on the resources that we had over the project, we could kind of optimize the resources that were available for the different pilots. I know that there were problems, but there were problems in the feature of the budget at the beginning, so we were able to scale up in time. During the project, we were able to grow and make available more resources in a very flexible and almost seamless way. So that was another very good result that we have obtained in a platform that is anyway still a very advanced prototype, still a prototype, but a very advanced prototype. The results, of course, there is the laboratory where you can go there, sign in, and then you can select to which of the different indicators you want to play with. And when you're in, you have all the information that you can get for the different environments. So you have the data for this specific indicator, you have the code that have been developed, and then a third party, an external user, can go there, find all these things, grab the code that was used, modify the code, maybe upload new data and rerun it. So one thing is to have the laboratory for the partners of the project, and the other thing is instead to give others the possibility to do the same thing but improving or changing a bit. And this can be done because every new user that can register the platform, that if it is not a core user, can access, can see all these things, cannot write in those folders, but can have his or her own work area in order to copy the code and redo everything. So that is quite important in order to allow others to work on the same results that we have obtained during the project. But of course, we can't expect that all the users are able to play with Python, or that can, let's say, modify their own code. For that, every single indicator has its own front end for, let's say, exploiting the results. Some of them are also doing computation on the fly using the algorithms that have been developed by the different teams. This is the front end for the first, let's say, I still call them pilot, but it's the indicator related to the fire trace. It was developed in the southern part of Italy, I think it was the province of Cosenza, if I'm not wrong. And well, you can go there, select an area, extract the statistics of the fires, you can select the years and so on. It's quite flexible in terms of front end. And I like the simplicity, because you don't really need to have super complicated front ends with, let's say, 3D scenarios and so on. I think it has to be effective and it has to work, and this is the best way to do it. Same for water. Well, this is a bit more, let's say, how can I say, complex in terms of, or complete in terms of analytical tools. This is the one for the health risk. This is around the city of Turin. Well, here there is a lot of other, let's say, layers that you can use and create statistics over the different parts of the city and so on. But it is in the scope of having a front end that gives non-programmers the capability of exploiting the different results. Of course, there is all the part related to the let's say, North Sea analysis. That was the pilot 3. So this is a faciality on one side, and you can tell it. Eutrophication. Again, two different products, but the same front end in this case, because they are similar in terms of community to satisfy and to address. Then there is the part related to the Romanian part. In one side there is the pilot 4A and the 4B, forest cover change in one side, and the soil erosion by water in the other side in the old river basin. This took a lot of time to collect all the data. It's a huge basin. I know somebody's smiling over there. And the last one that was mainly related to the security part, so the climate security developed by Sachin, and also in this case it's more related to the African part and the impact, let's say, in the Sahel area. So there were, let's say, one part dedicated more to experts and one part dedicated more to decision makers. That is the result. Where do we want to go? Well, the platform is ready for further evolutions. We had already some discussion with CMCC to keep it alive. That's absolutely, from our point of view, needed. It has accessibility to a large variety of data, and this is seamless, more or less. We have all the APIs to collect the data whenever they are needed. As I said, we can kind of squeeze it a bit in terms of computational resources if it is not used, but if tomorrow it's used, it's simply a matter of deploying a new or opening or activating a new node and a new node in the cluster, and then the computational capabilities are available. So it can be scaled up quite easily. If you have to run something that is over, if you had to run pilot one over, let's say, the whole Europe, it would be a matter of, let's say, adding new computational resources, and that could work. That is the advantage of this kind of platform. Of course, you can expect to have different domains. So added in this platform, it's flexible enough to say, okay, tomorrow I want another pilot, and the effort of adding another indicator is really, let's say, a few hours to configure everything and create, as we did. So you collect the requirements in terms of libraries and processing capabilities and data, and then you deploy everything. Can it be possible? Well, also the front ends were very flexible to be adapted. There is the possibility, and it was also discussed and put on paper in the different documentation, to have a commercial exploitation of the platform itself, because the environment is there. It could be in principle a very good, let's say, starting point or ending point, depending on the level of interaction that you have with the new developers. If I'm a new developer and I want to refine one of the indicators, I am at the end of the chain, so I can access the platform. I have everything there. I have the data, I have the computational capabilities, and potentially it's very easy also to deploy a front end. So I could pay for that because I don't have to redo things that have been already done. On the other side, if I want to develop from the scratch, again, I don't need to deploy my own environment and so on, but I have already something to play with. So both options are available. And this is the end of the story. And I think that you were all involved, so I didn't tell you anything brand new, but it was interesting to recap, because starting from having in mind where we started from, and having our, let's say, timeline, we were really able to do what we wanted to do. Thank you, and questions are open.
Thank you, Stefano. Question, comment for Stefano? Monica? Before you, I want just to say that it's very nice. It's I like very much to see the front ends and the tool service ready to go for a new step of the project. But it's a very I like very much. Thank you all for this effort in working with Stefano and in this such good and productive way.
Yes, thank you very much, Stefano, because indeed I really support what Manuela mentioned. I think it's really congratulations to you and really to all. My question is in the direction about one of the typology of users, which are the statistical community. Maybe Fabio could also comment here, because many of these NSOs, National Statistical Offices, they have their own platforms. So it is very rare that they will go outside to use another platform. So tell us a little bit more about the potential of APIs that they will connect this platform or these data sets or methodologies with their platforms, and how this process could be. And this is something that is already within the project already studied. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. And well, on one side, it's a technical question that I can reply. quite easily, but on the other side, it's more a domain question that probably we have also to involve the different research groups that have developed the different indicators to understand exactly what a statistical office would want to have. Technically speaking, if the statistical office finds interesting one of the indicators, they can we can expose, and it's already there, an API from which they can connect, run, and retrieve the result without going through anything. So that's, technically speaking, very easy. The point is, what do they really want to do it? So what is the level? What is the step? The activities to be done for the acceptance and integration of these indicators. So I assume that the different indicators have been developed for specific areas. If I am a statistical office in Italy that cares about burned biomass and fires, and I'm interested in that specific part where the pilot one was developed. So for me, it's simply getting the data, not really running the process, but getting the data. Getting the data is another relatively simple thing with metadata that can be created on top of it. They are already there, easy to pick the folders. That's the basic way, but in order to make them discoverable, it would be better to have some kind of discovery service on top of it. And then the type of discovery service really depends on the statistical office, because if they want a certain type of metadata, as we were already discussing, it is necessary to create a discovery service with the type of interface that they are interested in. Standard interfaces are already there, discovery through open search, it's there, but the point is, I don't think this is what they need. So probably we would need to have some kind of discussion with the statistical offices to understand what is the gap that we have to fill in order to make the indicators, so the processing part, but mainly the data, directly usable by them through the platform. Everybody is, how can I say, accustomed of using WMS, WFS for retrieving data. And that is something that it's easy to do, but the metadata part is not yet there. So we don't have a clear description of each product that is there in terms that a statistical office can understand. Probably this is the real gap that we have now. But technically speaking, we are there, we are ready.
Sorry, just on this question, because you talk about statistics point of view. So one way I'm wondering if basically when Istat send the data to Eurostat or to United Nations, we use the so-called SDGs, that stands for Standard Metadata Exchange Files and Data. So I'm wondering that if you have the opportunity to prepare maybe just as an SDMX file as an output of your data, that could be quite useful even for United Nations to try to use this kind of data. But I mean, this could be done after a sort of agreement with a statistical institution. Completely right, the metadata question is much more complicated because you need for a format. Maybe tomorrow we talk about also the format that is behind the statistical agency to provide metadata. So thank you so much.
Oh, for sure. It's unfortunately the project is really getting to its end. Otherwise, this would have been a very good example, because I think that there is not much effort to be devoted, but the gap that you're going to fill is really important. So possibly we can discuss tomorrow about one or two examples, tests that we can do by the end of the project, so in a month from now. Let's see what can be done, because I think it's very important at least to show that this can be achieved in a relatively short time.
Yeah, and one of the last deliverables, it's also the future, like a roadmap for future development and uptake of the project. And we have also this deliverable on exploitation, and also maybe this part can fill also, this example can fill also in one of, or in both deliverables. So thank you very much, Stefano, and all.